Good morning. This morning we read Zechariah chapter 9 through to the end of chapter 11. Remember, this book is a second temple book. It's a book after the exile from Babylon when they returned to the land and built the second temple. It's a prophecy about how glorious the second temple will be. And in this ninth chapter, God says that he is going to come against those who'd exploited and attacked and harassed his people. And he was going to judge them. But look how he deals with the Philistines. He said, I'm going to put an end to the pride of the Philistines, but those who are left will belong to our God and become like a clan in Judah. So though God is going to judge his enemies, some of them will be saved and incorporated into his people. What a glorious picture for us of the New Testament. We were once his enemies. We were under his wrath, but God took his elect from the nations and brought us into his kingdom, made us part of his people. The Philistines, the worst of enemies, incorporated into God's people. We, the worst of sinners, incorporated into God's people. So what's going to happen in the life of the second temple? Well, one day a great king is going to come. He's going to come lowly and riding on a donkey. He's going to defeat the nations. He's going to bring blessing. He's going to pour out blessing upon his people. He will proclaim peace to the nations. His rule will extend from sea to sea and from the river to the ends of the earth. Of course, this is a prophecy about the Lord Jesus who rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. And this prophecy was fulfilled in him. So the second temple was going to see the coming of the Messiah. The Lord will appear. The Lord will save his people, and like a shepherd, he'll care for them. Then God judges the existing shepherds. Those who have proclaimed themselves leaders of the people, I will punish the leaders, for God will care for his people. From Judah will come the cornerstone. So the false leaders, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the religious elites, were going to be removed from their positions. And a cornerstone, a faithful shepherd, was going to be established in the land. Again, a prophecy about Jesus. He's coming to establish his rule and to be the cornerstone upon which God builds his church. And a prophecy about the end of the second temple. God sends the shepherd to faithfully care for his people. And yet his people reject him and turn their back on him. And so the covenant is broken. The two staffs' favour and union are broken, and the equipment has gone. Yet God still has a people. And he still has a people who he has called his own. But the covenant with Israel and with Judah is broken and shattered there when the shepherd was rejected, the true shepherd who came. And what was the price that they paid for the shepherd? 30 pieces of silver. We see that again in the New Testament. But there is a warning. And a warning that is true today as it was then, that God raises up shepherds. Some shepherds raise themselves up, but God will judge worthless shepherds who don't care for the flock. There's a true shepherd, the Lord Jesus. He was rejected, but the worthless shepherds will also be judged. What a fantastic prophecy, how accurate it is. Looking at the history of the Second Temple, if we see it in this context, that this was what was going to happen during those Second Temple days, from the time of exile until the temple was destroyed. We see here a picture of that fullness, of that period described. God restores his people, he blesses his people, he incorporates his enemies into his people, he sends the Messiah. But that shepherd, that faithful shepherd, was rejected and the covenant broken. So now there is a new covenant.